Hello, I'm Shamus, Outdoors Inspiration. Today I'm off out on a wild camp with my son Angus and Petra the German Shepherd, and we're heading up the Tavy Cleave, one of Dartmoor's most scenic valleys. We're going to head out to Tor, which is one of our most remote sites on the moor. Absolutely stunning out there, but the weather's looking a little bit dodgy. I'm not sure what kind of scenery we're going to get from there, so we'll see how the day goes on. Shall we carry on? Let's go. There's a bit of a bog here, so I'll send Angus first, like a probe. Right, Gus, let's carry on then. You take the lead. What? Go on, get moving. Is it a bit boggy? It's getting wetter. We're just debating what happens when we get to the crossing the river here. We're going to look for an appropriate place, but the river's quite high, so we may have to think about our choices carefully. But Angus is getting jacketed up. We're getting wetter and wetter. Bottom line is, I'm soaking wet. I'm wearing an event jacket, which is a RAB event jacket, very waterproof, but because it's about 18-20 degrees and I've been wearing a jacket, I'm soaking wet anyway, with perspiration. So, we all good? Onwards and upwards? Good, Petra? Let's go. Tavy Cleave's normally a good place to come wild swimming. This is one of the favourite pools. Not today. I think it'd be pretty wild to go swimming in there. Yeah, that's not happening today, is it? Well, I thought it was going to clear slightly today. That's what the forecast was telling me, but it's not. So I can't use my normal Rode microphones on this because they're just going to get soggy. I'm currently using the media pack, and I've got to take that off and rely on the camera's microphones. So I'm going to swap that over now. So if there's a change in audio level, bear with me. But if I take the media pack off, then at least the camera's waterproof again. Right. Not sure how the audio quality is now compared to, or competing with the river, but we're back to waterproof now, so let's carry on. Go on up. Good girl. Steady. Up. Oh, good girl. Let her jump. Let her jump. No, Petra, come. Up. Good girl. Good girl. Steady. Slippery, isn't it? Good girl, Petra. On you go. Steady. Steady, steady. Good girl. Right. Up. Up. Good girl, wait. So that was pretty tight for coming up here. That is on the limit. There isn't much space between you and the river. It's not in spate, it's half spate, not even that, to be honest with you. When this river is in full bore, it is an absolutely brutal river coming through here, and you don't want to mess with it. But any more water than that, we wouldn't be getting through that particular gap today. Anyway, we're not coming back this way, and I think the river level is going to rise. We're going out a different way that doesn't involve the side of a river. So this is the Rattle Brook coming down here, Amacombe Hill off on my left hand shoulder. This is normally the crossing point. Petra, come. But even the little Rattle Brook is pretty full. Over on the Tavy side there, that used to be a crossing point for the 10 Tours expedition, and for years it was always a bit problematic if the weather was up. And now it's been taken out, and I guess that's for the best, really. Crossing a river like this with 2,500 youngsters is probably never was a good idea. But there we go, we live and learn, and now we improve things in the ways that need to be improved for safety. Right, so for us to find a safe place to cross this, there isn't at the moment. It's pretty deep. You could probably cross it safely, but you can get very wet. Petra, come here. Petra, come. And I think we're going to walk upstream, see what we can find, and then work our way out. This is where we meant to cross here, but we're working our way up here. We're now at Dead Lake Foot. We're going to work our way further up. I know there's a crossing point up here. We might have to wait until we get opposite the Scad here. So we've come as far as we need to now on the Rattle, but we've had to come quite some way to find a point where it's reasonable to cross. The usual fording point was just looking a bit deep. I tried it up to my knees, but some of the pots behind the rocks were looking a bit sort of thigh and hip depth, so that wasn't worth a go. The weather is crapping out over towards Furtor. It doesn't look like it'll be a comfortable night up there or anything with any visibility. We might come up with a plan B as to where we're going to camp tonight, but we'll see. We'll keep going for now. Now this is what Dartmoor is all about. Let's come. Bit of a change of plan. If we manage to get across the Rattle Brook where we are, that'll be fine, but we've still got to work our way back up Amacombe Hill, and we've got to get across Amacombe Brook. And with the water levels rising, the rivers are rising and the rain is continuing, we're going to have a change of plan. So what we're going to do is work our way up the Rattle Brook, over to Dick's Well, past the Donegal, up to Great Lynx, and we're going to have a little camp out at Great Lynx tour. Plan B. Always have a plan B. Visibility is reducing now, not in our favour. Oh, you're visible, Angus, with that jacket on. Visibility's come right down now to about 20 metres visibility. It's very important that you keep on top of your navigation and know where you are all the time now. So you want to end up where you want to end up, you want to have a good night, and you want to get out of here safely. But also, if you should have an emergency of some kind, or a member of your group does, and you raise the alarm, you need to be able to tell people exactly where you are. And right now it's fairly flat, there's no other defining features, 20 metres visibility, but I can put my finger on a map and say we're there. So we know we're on the range posts here, so we're right on the range. So we've got a bisected line here, we've got a position line. So by position line we know we're on this track here, and we know it crosses the range here. So actually we're on a fix, we know exactly where we are. And if you can just turn the bezel on my compass for me so it faces north. Thank you. That's where we're heading for, Great Lynx. arrived at Great Lynx Tour now. We're going to pitch up here for the night. We're just finding an appropriate place, flat and not too wet, amongst the rocks. We'll have a little look around in a minute. Beautiful spot here. Great Lynx is a massive tower of granite rock in weathered layers. It's absolutely beautiful.
This price was too good for
chicken korma with rice. That'll be nice. Oh, yeah, it is. That's really spot on. But it's not for dogs, Petra. It says on the packet. No, it says it there. Look, you should see that. Not for dogs. Not for dogs. Love it. Oh, maybe a bit is. I've got sausages for you in your rucksack anyway. Custard apple crunch. I love this one. I absolutely love it. And Petra likes the custard, so I let her have the packet afterwards. Right, so that's things set up for the night. I keep talking about the safety aspect of things, and it's very, very important that we keep on top of that on the moors, the mountains, the hills, the coast. I spent 20 years of my life as a search and rescue specialist. I've written protocols, national protocols for lost person search, and been a specialist in rope rescue and various other disciplines of rescue. So I have a good knowledge and understanding of what's required for the emergency services to respond to us as users now out in the moors should things go wrong. And I'd like to just take a moment or two to talk about that. So we need to try and plan for generic emergencies or generic eventualities. It's impossible to plan for everything. But the first thing we need to do in the event of any kind of emergency is stabilise the situation. If somebody's hurt or injured, make sure that they're okay, that they're stabilised, conduct first aid, fix your position by whatever method, and call for assistance. So in terms of first aid kits, I don't carry a great deal with me because normally I'm on my own, but I carry enough should I come across somebody else. And that's another good question is, you might not want to carry much in your rucksack, but what have you got for me? If I have an emergency, if I'm lying there unconscious on the floor and you find me, it'd be nice to know that you've got something in your bag that can help me. Well, you're not going to do a great deal with the first aid kit if I'm unconscious, to be honest with you. You're just going to stabilise me and call for help. I carry a small first aid kit. It's got a couple of small dressings in it, some paracetamol for personal use, and some plasters for blisters and things. Nothing more than that. But I have got a small pencil, piece of paper to write and take notes on. Most of us carry a mobile phone these days, so if you're going to dial 999 or 112 to alert the emergency services, you might be able to signal. Try it anyway, because in the event of an emergency call, your network provider will try all the other available networks. Of course, there may be nothing available, and you may need to move to a different position or higher ground. Fixing your position. Hopefully you know where you are. Map and compass. That's our primary means these days, I hope. But a lot of people use phone apps. You might use the What 3 Words app. You might use View Ranger, or you might use the Ordnance Survey mapping on your phone. But fix your position. It's always good if you're using electronic aids to know where you are manually, to understand the basics of navigation, to interpret that on the electronic aid that you're using. So another method of calling for help, or perhaps for alerting people who may be nearby and within sight and sound, is using a whistle, perhaps the Mark 1 Acme Thunderer, or the Fox, whatever it is. I'm not sure what they call this, the Life Systems Blaster or something, whatever. 6 blasts about every minute is the emergency signal out in the hills. That's 6 blasts about every minute. And if you hear that and you're looking for somebody, respond with 3 blasts about every minute. Waving your arms to attract attention is another good way of summoning help should there be people within sight of you. Try and do it where you've got a clear profile and people can see it happening, and then somebody will come and find you. Come on, Petra. Have a plan. Have a route plan. Tell somebody where you're going. Leave a plan with them and tell them what time you will contact them when you know that you're safe, and at what time they should call the emergency services if they haven't heard from you. Leave the route with them and tell them of any intended destinations and stop-off points. This would greatly aid the emergency services should they be looking for you. If you change your plan, be sure to tell them. And finally, there's personal locator beacons, or emergency position indicator radio beacons. The EPIRB is normally carried on a ship, and a personal locator beacon carried by a person walking. This was mine. It works on 406 megahertz. It sounds very complex, but I carried this for my boat, and I had it registered to me personally. They must be registered in this country with the EPIRB registry with the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency. So this is registered to me with a particular serial number and ident. Okay, so if I go missing and I set this off, this is going to send a signal to a satellite and alert the emergency services and tell them that I'm in trouble. It's registered to me as a walker, so it knows that if I'm inland on Dartmoor somewhere, that they've got to contact my emergency contact numbers. Works very, very simply. There's the antenna. I press that button for 1 second and it sends a signal to a satellite, and encoded in that signal is a GPS locator. So it's got a 64 channel GPS location within it that goes up to the satellite. It downloads it to an emergency centre, who then distributes it either to the Coast Guard if it's a signal on the coast, or to the police if it's inland. And it has to be taken as an emergency. But logged and registered with this piece of equipment are my personal details and my contact numbers. So they would then telephone the person I've left as my contact details. That person would know I've gone walking for the day and or confirm with the police or confirm with the Coast Guard where it was I was going for the day. But because of the GPS that's built into this, they would then know where to come searching for me. Built into this is also a personal locator beacon. That doesn't raise the alarm, but it does sound off on 121.5 megahertz. That's the International Aeronautical Emergency Frequency. Any aircraft flying over the top would hear that, whether they're flying back from, I don't know, Spain on their holidays, or whether it's the search and rescue helicopter that's looking for me. So it will give a location signal, and the search and rescue aircraft will be able to home in on that. So having raised the alarm initially through the satellite, there's a further radio signal sent off on this to allow the emergency aircraft to home in on my position. If you're at sea, a lifeboat can home in on that position too. So we've looked at the... wait, sit! We've looked at the electronic means of locating a person. There are other means, visually, audibly, and then there's these little fellas as well, or little girls in this case. Where do you think he is? We find him! Good girl, go show me him then. What have you got? Good girl, go show me him. Have you found him? What's he doing there? Is he missing? Hey? What you got? Good girl. And finally, whatever the nature of the emergency, whatever means you've used to raise the alarm, the emergency services will come for you. Hang on in there, make yourself obvious, okay? Keep your head and stay calm. On the last few trips out, we've been blessed with really good weather. It's been amazing, but today sort of shows Dartmoor in its true light. We're the highest point in the county and the highest point in southern England for some parts of Dartmoor. And the Atlantic lows, the low pressure as it comes across the Atlantic, builds up a lot of water and moisture. The first upwelling it meets is Dartmoor. And as the air is pushed up, it condensates out, turns into fog and rain. Consequently, places like Princetown, at 1,500 feet above sea level, has twice the amount of rainfall as Plymouth, or anywhere else in the county for that matter. So that's really the truth with Dartmoor. We have some beautiful days, and when it's beautiful, the sun's shining or the snow's falling, but we have a lot of mist and a lot of fog and a lot of rainfall. So today wasn't unusual. The plan was that we were going to go wild camping. I'd looked at the weather forecast, and the weather forecast wasn't too bad. My main worry was the potential for thunderstorms overnight, but it wasn't showing too much precipitation. But how wrong that was. So we've had to have a plan B, and we've ended up here at Great Lynx Tour. Angus is tucked up in his tent for the evening. You okay over there, Gus?
I'm good.
He's all good. Petra, how are you doing? You've got a boop for the camera, Petra. No, don't eat the flies. That was a daddy long legs. Oh, poor thing. We'll have to see what the weather's going to bring for the morning now. I've checked out the forecast. It's about 5 mile an hour winds, but it's been so unpredictable today. The wind did get up for a bit this evening, and the amount of rainfall wasn't forecast. So there is some rain forecast for tomorrow. We'll see what the day brings. Well, that's interesting. It's a bit more than the 4 or 5 miles an hour wind that was advertised. Had a little bit of a blow coming through. Nothing to worry about. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and looking forward to the start of another day. So the weather's looking a bit better now. Let's have a little look outside. You there, Angus?
Yeah.
Go on, show yourself. Nope, there he is, look. The creepy heat from the deep. It's a lot improved on yesterday, isn't it? There's the standing stone. Angus got up for a pee in the night, and that standing stone put the wind up in. You thought it was somebody standing there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. So I'd normally be packed up and gone by now. But earlier on in the week I recorded a short monologue for BBC Radio Devon for their breakfast Sunday show, and I'm just waiting for that to come on. So I brought a small radio. Hopefully we'll be able to hear it, and then we're going to get packed up and gone.
Here on BBC Radio Devon, the time is 7:22. Angela Kell waits with you for your breakfast show. In the next few moments, we're going to hear from Dartmoor enthusiast and wild camper Shamus McCaffery as he takes us into the wilderness to tell us what has given him solace and lifted his spirits in our series All Things Bright. But what about you, more importantly? What have you been doing that's made you smile this week? While you're doing that, while you're thinking about that, let's also listen to Shamus McCaffery as he takes us out into the wild.
I'm off for
my my run in the Ditsworthy Warren area. Got Petra the dog with me, my ever faithful companion. We're going to head down to the River Plym, high up on Dartmoor, between Ditsworthy Warren House and Hentor. You have a lot of mist, but you can really connect with the landscape. This isn't about Dartmoor, a name, it's about a relationship with the landscape, a relationship with your ancestry and with nature itself. All right, Petra, come on then, we better get on with this run, hadn't we? You ready? Let's go.
I loved that. I love the picture painting he did on the moors with his little dog Petra as well. Just sounded incredible, didn't it? It's made me think about what I'm going to do this afternoon, certainly. It's made me think about wanting to go on the moors because he just painted this incredible picture of what it's like there and what it can do for you.
Come on then. Up, up. Petra, up. Good girl. Way over. Come on, over the rocks. Way over. Up. Up, 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 up. Good girl, wait. Speak. Good girl, come on then. Come on, Petra. Good girl. Oh dear. Right, Petra, come. And sit. Good girl, stay. Well, time for a brew. And I think we're off. The weather's clearing up a little bit. Ah, that's fantastic. Right, Gus, you ready to go?
Let's go.
Excellent. Come on then. Come on. Good girl. I've had a great weekend wild camping. It was a little bit soggy in parts and it was a little bit touch and go in the Tavy Cleave there, but we stayed just on the right side of safety. We had a plan, we had to modify that plan, and we've ended up having a great weekend. I hope you stay safe in the mountains, hills and moorlands as well. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to my channel. I'm not monetized, I'm not sponsored by anybody, so it'd be a great boost to me to see subscribers. If you like what you've seen, give us the thumbs up as well. Comments are always welcome, I'll always get back to you. Thanks ever so much, it's been a great weekend. Come on in, Petra. Good girl. Good girl. Onwards and upwards.